Oh, Blue Sports in Game 7 with a 5-2 win tonight in St. Louis. Go head back to Winnipeg for a Game 7 on Sunday night, 6 p.m. We're going to talk all about Game 6 in tonight's little short episode here. Okay, holy jumping. What a game. What a second period for the St. Louis Blues tonight. Brandon James, thanks for joining me tonight in this little in our post-game show here as the Blues win 5-2 and force Game 7 in Winnipeg on Sunday night. James, I'll start with you. It's been a little while since we've seen you. How are you doing? How do you feel about tonight's game?
I don't even know what to say. Flabbergasted. I'm elated. This team became the nightmare tonight. Thank you, John Gruden, for coming in and rocking and rolling with us. And the Blues, I will say at the first period, I was not sure this team had complete control. They played a good game, but not a lot of shots offensively, not a lot of time in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that second period, boom, it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be, at least from the start of the first period and through the first period, it seemed like it was going to be a pretty close game. But after seeing the second period and then Hellebuyck getting pulled going into the third period, it's like, wow, this is – I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I can't wait for Game 7. That was more or less – I was happy to see them come out and get ahead of like they did and everything, and then to see the third period come out where they are still staying in the lead and kept it going into the final moments. I was so happy that we were able to force a Game 7 and going back into Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a series. The Blues chase Connor Hellebuyck for the third time in this series so far. Why do the Blues, James, have Connor Hellebuyck's number in St. Louis? We'll leave it at that point.
The only thing I can explain to it is I just think there's a confidence level that the Blues have at home. Bennington's got a massive confidence level at home. He's been undefeated since February at home, as the team has too. So I think a lot of that goes that way. And then it's just a matter of getting that you could say a soft goal, but just like a goal that Hellebuyck should stop and doesn't, and then the floodgates just open, and his confidence is done, just like that.
Yeah, the Braden Schenn goal tonight, the third goal of the game, is one of those.
Yeah.
I think is that goal that you kind of talk about is those ones that you typically see Connor Hellebuyck stop. In his first period, I thought he looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of, I was a little worried that the first goal wasn't going to count. I'm surprised Winnipeg didn't actually end up challenging that one, but I understand the reasoning why. At the same time, but I feel like Connor Hellebuyck had a good first period. I don't know what happened after that. I don't know I couldn't tell you what happened in the second period. On the opposite end, though, Brandon Bennington looked fabulous again. I mean, I think he's looked good all throughout the whole series. I don't think it's just tonight. It wasn't just Game 3. It wasn't just Game 4. I think he's been pretty solid throughout the whole series. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I thought Bennington looked great tonight. I mean, most of the goals that Bennington has let in, I felt like were goals that were really out of his control. And even into this game, I felt like the first goal that he let up, I feel like, you know what, it's going to happen. They had as much pressure as what Winnipeg did at the time on St. Louis, and I felt like it was going to eventually happen. But I kind of disagree a little bit on the kind of what you were kind of talking about with the callback on the on St. Louis's goal. It looked like almost their guy had pushed Buchnevich into Hellebuyck for the most part. So that's why I was like, I'm glad they didn't challenge, because they didn't have credible evidence at all for the callback that goal.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what I said. I get where they were like, oh, like, no, it wasn't, worth the challenge to them, even though, they took the time out afterwards to try to get a little bit more time to look at the play, which in the long run, I would kind of hurt Winnipeg because they still had an opportunity in the third with as much pressures that they were putting on the Blues that they could have easily. I mean, I wouldn't say easily, but they could have come back in this one with the way, the way the Blues kind of sat back in the third, which had me worried. I'm not gonna lie, I was on the edge of my couch almost the whole third period because I was like, come on, like you can't let this happen now. You have a 4-goal lead. Keep putting the pressure on, keep putting the gas on, and don't let back. Because if you do, I mean, they talked about it tonight on the play-by-play guys. Like, hey, like you can't let Winnipeg back in this game. You let Winnipeg back in this game, you're not going to win it.
Right, exactly. I mean, the Blues scored 3 goals in 2 minutes. Why can't it could easily happen the same way, vice versa with Winnipeg doing it. So that's a big difference to kind of play on your heels a little bit in that third period.
Yeah, it's crazy. You got a comment here, Aaron. Thanks for tuning in for a minute. He said, "Can we finally agree Connor is bad in the playoffs? On the road, yes, on the road. At home, he's still pretty solid. He's hard to beat at home.
Yep,
hard to beat at home.
Yeah, and I mean, in the stretch of multiple series, I mean, he has a record of 5-11 in the last 16 appearances in the playoffs. So, I mean, that has something to say a little bit for Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's been phenomenal at home, like we were talking about, but something's got to be said for this. I mean, he's a great goaltender during the regular season. For whatever reason, he falls off, and obviously it's probably because of the overuse during the regular season. But that just to see how much he lets in during the playoffs has to show for some of that just from the overuse. And if they don't overuse Hellebuyck, you probably don't see this series going to 7 games.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The Blues sweeping 4.
Probably.
No, I'm just kidding. The other comment here from Aaron, it thinks he's at TD Garden every night. You just need to change the Enterprise Center to TD Garden, and Jordan Binnington will win every game at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't ooh. It'd be worth it. It'd be worth it. In the long run, what would that be? 40, 41, 42 wins a year?
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
I can do that.
Not counting playoffs. Yeah. I'll take it. Overall, though, I thought this was a good game. Cam Fowler. God, let's talk about Cam Fowler. What a freaking addition that was. He's the first Blues player in, I think of what I heard is that in Blues history to have 10 Blues defensemen in Blues history to have 10 points in one series, picking up that 10-point tonight. What a freaking acquisition that was by Doug Armstrong, James. Just incredible.
Yeah. It's it's a masterclass move right there by Army to make a trade for Cam Fowler. When that trade was made back then, people were like, well, yeah, I guess Fowler can help the team. I'm not sure what it's there for, but
he thought we were getting a washed up defenseman from Anaheim who hasn't really done anything.
A guy who still has some skill, but they didn't think he had enough left in him. He is revitalized.
Yeah,
he's literally a Jay Bouwmeester that we had in 19. Just that same puck control. He's fast. He handles the puck so well. He's a great partner to Colton Parayko, and the guy's got some wicked hands on him. Scoring that goal to make it, to make it 5-1 at the time. I mean, it was beautiful. Just a great play, and he transitions so well, going from defense to offense, just like that. Like, thank you, Doug Armstrong. Thank you, Cam Fowler, for waiving your no trade clause to come to St. Louis. It's been nice.
Yeah, it's very solid to have a guy like Cam Fowler who steps up. He stepped up in the last chunk of not just the regular season, but here in the first round against the Jets too. But overall, defensively, Brandon, you look at the Blues; they've had a little bit of struggles defensively in this one. You look at a guy like Justin Falk, a guy like Nick Leddy, and I didn't realize how big how much of a difference not having Tyler Tucker on the defensive lineup was going to be until the last 2 games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really expected it, but I mean, going from games 3 and 4 and having him in the lineup to 5 and 6, not having him, I mean, you saw the difference in game 5, obviously, of not having a guy like Tyler Tucker in your lineup. And then tonight you see, and that was one thing that the Blues needed to have more of a contribution from their defense in this game to have really much of a difference over Winnipeg, because that was a big difference maker over Winnipeg in games 3 and 4. And you didn't really see a whole lot of contribution from the defense in game 5, but to see them come out and do what they did tonight against Winnipeg in game 6, winning 5-2, it was huge, especially having the contribution from Philip Broberg and Cam Fowler, and even some of the fourth liners from Toropchenko, and getting yet another goal. That was and Nathan Walker. That's huge for this team, especially when you're in a do or die type game like this. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this team has always been very good in these types of situations where you're in a do or die type situation. This team has proven that they, even through the regular season, that they can overcome whatever type of adversity is put in front of them and somehow be able to overcome it.
Yeah. I would agree. Like, you talked about the defensive points tonight. You get one from Parayko here. So there's 1, 2, there's one from Suter. So 3, Justin Folk, Broberg. So that's 5. Looking at there, Broberg's goal. That's 6 points between the Blues defensemen just in game 6, just tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just tonight, which is why Philip Broberg is the first star, and you have Cam Fowler as the third star, on at least on the NHL app side of things. And you get Toropchenko with the second star. I mean, you're looking at guys that it's not your Dylan Holloway, it's not your Pavel Buchnevich, it's not your Jordan Kyrou, it's not your Robert Thomas. It's guys that you need in these games. And unfortunately, on the opposite side for Winnipeg, they're not getting that. I mean, they're with third line. I mean, it's starting to pick up a little bit with Niederreiter. We know with the goal in the last game, he picked up a goal tonight. You get Perfetti, so I mean that line is clicking a little bit, but you lose Mark Sheffley. You just got Ehlers back and Velarde as well, and you're gonna have a little bit of struggles in moving forward, adjusting to having those guys. Like, heard Chris Kerber? I think it was Chris Kerber this morning or this afternoon or before the game started. Like, you're talking about a guy like Alex Iafallo, who at the beginning of this series was on the first line. They get these guys back like Ehlers and Velarde, and now he's in the fourth line. How big of a jump and how much ice time, how much a difference in ice time those guys are going to get. You're seeing that with the Jets, where the Blues on the other side of things, you're getting production from Walker, you're getting production from Toropchenko, from Foxka. It's nice to see that at the same time.
For sure.
I mean, Nathan Walker, 3 goals in 2 games. Who would have thought?
That's a big surprise, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, and even to relation of Gabriel Velarde and Nicholas Ehlers coming into a series where you're already 5-6 games into a series, it's got to be hard for those guys to come into a series that's already ongoing. You're just from the fact of how physical and how just crazy these series just go, from a standpoint of just how physical and how much these guys are going at it and just trying to get wins for each of their teams. just coming into the series and just like, oh, okay, it's my first game and I'm gonna try to match what they're putting out. You're just coming into these series like you're gonna have probably a hard time like getting to the level to what most of these guys have put in since game one of this series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna be able to have your little bit of contributions here and there we saw from Velarde in game 5, but I mean, you for the most part don't really see a whole lot of contributions from both of those players in this game. And I mean, you see Ehlers come back, and I don't know what his ice time was like because it seemed.
I can find it.
He didn't really seem like much of a burden, but I mean, still, you had two guys that came into this series from not being where they were at the beginning of the series, and it didn't really seem to make much of a difference. It seemed like.
Yeah. So Ehlers had 60 minutes of ice time tonight, 18 total shifts. He was -2 on the plus-minus. No goals, no assists, no nothing. Velarde -1, 19 minutes, 14 seconds, 18 shifts as well. So there you go. That gives you kind of an idea of, what you're looking at. You're looking at guys who, you get Appleton with an assist for Winnipeg. I'm going to butcher the guy's name, even though I've heard it 800 times. I can't. I'm even trying to knit. You know what I'm talking about, I think. Nezmakov?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
yeah.
Nice try. Nice job.
That's a tough one.
Nemstikov?
Yeah, Nemstikov. That's a tough one. You're going to get Niederreiter, but again, Kyle Connor had an assist tonight too for Winnipeg. You look at one thing, and I'll stop talking about the Jets. I don't know why I keep talking about the Jets so much. Look at something like you look at the shots on goal tonight for the Blues. You get 8 in the first. They outshot Winnipeg 8-2 in the first. Outshot 15-9 in the second, and then the Jets had 12 shots on goal compared to the Blues 4. So you definitely tell when they started to sit back on their heels a little bit more, James, in this one. Mm-hmm. What I mean, obviously you don't want to get caught up in too much extracurricular stuff, and we started to see that. I don't know if you saw that Braden Shin penalty.
Oh, that was a joke.
That was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. He's literally just chirping his brother a little bit, and they automatically put the hand up and put him in the box.
Yeah.
No wonder why Monty was like ticked off. That
livid.
Was livid. Like he exploded, and I will say this: no matter what happens, it's safe to say that the officiating in this series has been atrocious for both sides.
Yeah,
it's not just been.
For sure.
I'm not doing this on the Blues side. Like there's a lot of calls that the Jets should have gotten and didn't. Mm-hmm. And then they go from one side of the pendulum to the other, where they're like, "Oh, we're going to call all these penalties," just like Game 5 and the, Sonny's.
The embellishment call.
The embellishment.
Yeah.
Like his nose is bleeding. How can you call embellishment for a guy who got a bloody nose?
Right.
Like, it's just. Not trying to just rant about officiating, but it's just been a mess, and this is the most penalized series in the first round, bar none.
Yeah. Just tonight there was I have it here. You had 30 minutes, 60 penalty minutes between the two teams.
Right.
Dear Lord. 6
power plays for each team. Winnipeg went 2 for 6. St. Louis went 0 for 6. It's 30 minutes. That's crazy. Well, I mean, there was 2 10-minute misconducts in there too, but you like the one. What was it? It was early on in the game. There was a penalty on the Blues, and it looked like the dude took a. I mean, I don't necessarily say he took a dive, but it looked like he kind of dove. Walker.
Yeah, that was a Walker penalty. Where they almost chart with
the
they almost said
5-minute
he was
major.
spearing.
Yeah,
it was almost a 5-minute major. They changed it to just a minor slashing.
Yeah,
but like it looked like he took a dive, and even Monty was on the bench doing this little dive thing. Like it looked like a dive.
Yeah, if you're gonna call that again, if you're gonna call embellishment on Sundqvist in Game 5 when he's literally bleeding out of his face, you gotta. I mean, you have to. You don't have to call that, but they should be called. It should be considered.
Right.
It should have been considered.
At the very least, I could easily see that not be called, but the refs go over to the bench is like, hey, I see one more embellishment. It's getting called all night, and just put their foot down.
Right.
That's all you got to do in a lot of those situations. Like just a friendly reminder, like, hey, don't do this crap, or else I'm going to start calling it.
Right.
But instead, they just kind of let it go.
Yeah, that one didn't make any sense to me. I tweeted right away. I was like, I don't know how that's not an embellishment call. Like you're gonna call that in Game 5. You got to call it in Game 6 too. It doesn't
exactly.
It's not back and forth type of thing. And Colton Parayko's roughing penalty late in the game too. I thought that one was kind of bogus, but in the rule book, if you do pull the helmet off of another player, it is a penalty.
Yeah. So, whether it's intentional or not, it's got to be done. So
yeah. So I get that one, but at the same time, it's just like, dude, like that. I thought the Blues took too many stupid penalties tonight.
Yeah,
I would agree, and especially in earlier games too. We've talked, even before the regular season ended, we talked about how they needed to work on their discipline on the stupid penalties, and it's getting into the playoffs and everything. But this is something that the Blues, if they are looking to move forward past this series, they got to work on their discipline.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah, it don't make any sense why they're taking some of the ones. I gotta think of like the Nathan the Walker. There was a second Walker penalty later in the game. If I remember right, that I was like, come on, like you can't do that. Like it's not the right time to take that kind of a penalty. In my opinion, I don't know, James. Yeah. You think it's something that you think. I don't know.
I do really think that they've shown some sides of being undisciplined. Yeah. And if they move on to the second round, you're drawing Colorado or Dallas.
Right.
Those guys are dominant on the power play. They have a lot of people who could score goals on the power play. So stop screwing around with penalties. Be a little bit smarter. Show that aggressiveness. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive, but do it the right way where you're not, acting a fool getting the whistle blown at you every time.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find that, or like what the penalty was called, or what it was called, because I don't remember. 1-1. This is the second. Brandon. Overall though. Oh, never mind. He disappeared. Just as I was getting ready to ask him a question. I don't know, John. Going into Game 7. Oh, never mind. He's back. Going into Game 7, what is the one thing that you would look for the Blues to do? Do you think they stick with Joseph in the lineup over Texier?
In all honesty, I almost feel like you would, because in some ways, shape, or form, you do get that little bit more of a physical dynamic with Joseph that you don't really get that much with Texier. So I would almost feel like if you're going into Game 7, you're going to have it's going to be probably the more physical game out of probably every game in this series, and you're going to be wanting to lean on everybody that you can to bring as much as they can to this game. And I feel like Matthew Joseph would probably bring a little bit more of that kind of game than what Texier would.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that's part of the reason why he was in the lineup tonight. And I didn't even realize the dude had won 2 Stanley Cups until tonight. Joseph, yeah.
Joseph with Pittsburgh?
I'm guessing so.
Jeez.
At least I'm pretty sure that's who they were talking about, unless they were talking about the other guy.
Yeah.
Which I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. James, what do you think going into Game 7? What is something that the Blues need to either do, keep doing, change up, whatnot?
Well, we definitely hit on they have to be disciplined. They
Yeah.
have got to lay off these penalties. What they need to keep doing is they need to show that same pressure that they had in St. Louis
Mhm.
with the shots and just the constant net front presence. Do that in Winnipeg. It's the same. You know what? It's a sheet of ice with
Yeah.
lines and goals. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's a different set of fans. It's the same damn thing. You play the same damn game and you could win it. So that's the things they've got to do here. That's the most important, I think. Discipline and net front presence, big time.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
would
get
agree.
John Gruden into Winnipeg. However you do that, make it happen.
You gotta, Barstool, if you happen to run across this, get John Gruden to Winnipeg in a Blues jersey.
Let's go.
In a Blues jersey.
Let's
No
go.
ifs, ands, or buts. We need John Gruden in Winnipeg. I hope he
We
has
need the nightmare Winnipeg.
Yes. No, I would agree. I mean, I think you saw that the difference between the first period and the second period. The Blues didn't have as much offensive pressure in the first period compared to the second period. Second period, they had a lot more net front presence. They were in front of Hellebuck, which is a big reason why they got the Cam Fowler goal. It was a shot from the point up top that found a way into the net because he didn't know where the puck was because there were so many people in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would agree. I would 100% agree. You did it in game 3. You did it in game 4. For some reason, it didn't go in game 5. I don't know what happened there. And you saw it again tonight. So yeah, stay disciplined. Net front presence. Brandon, you got anything else to add to what the Blues need to do in game 7 to go to round 2?
Yeah, I more or less the same. If they can keep a disciplined game, if they can keep a net front presence, I mean, I feel like that's something that they've really been missing out on whenever they are back in Winnipeg. That they don't keep a net front presence. They haven't involved the defense and the play as much as what they do here in St. Louis. And that's something that if they want to advance past game 7, that is something that they are going to need much more of going back into Winnipeg, that they are going to have to rely on their defense just a little bit more than what they have in Winnipeg. And yeah, games 1 and 2, they're close games, not so much in game 5, but if you are looking at something that you are wanting to continue this playoff push, you are going to need a defensive presence and a net front presence into game 7.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. I wouldn't say 100. Yeah, 100%. That would be my, kind of keys to game 7. Talk about tonight's game as we wrap things up here. You got a player of the game tonight, James. Who was the guy that stuck out to you the most?
My player of the game is going to be Philip Broberg. Came alive this game, scoring his first goal in the playoffs. Oh, I'm sorry, sue me. But I tell you, I will say this: what really impressed me was that second goal that he set up for Walker, and just that beautiful shot right down to the boards, went behind the net. He had a player on him. He put the brakes on and just totally lost the player for the Jets, and then he centered it right to Walker for the goal. Phil Broberg was my player of the game.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. You did took the words right out of my mouth. I'm sitting here looking at okay.
We were all chomping at the bit to see Broberg do that. He was the only goal. He's the only defenseman on the Blues that didn't score a goal.
Right.
Hasn't done anything. It's like he's got to do something. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It happened finally.
Yeah, that's it. Immediately. I mean, that was the first guy that jumped to my head. I was like, oh, Philip Broberg had a heck of a game. Heck, he had a goal and an assist, and as you mentioned, the beautiful pass, the beautiful assist on the Nathan Walker goal that gave the Blues a lead in the second. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that pick. Brandon, who do you have as your player of the game?
You didn't really see much of them through the first and second periods, but I would say in the third period, I'm putting up Jordan Binnington just from how much
absolutely
adversity you are putting up or getting against the net in the third period against your team, and they had so many chances to try to even up this game. They got one in the third period, but they were able to stop them from getting any more. And that's more or less the reason why I give mine to Bennington.
Yeah, that's fair too. He had a heck of a game too. I mean, he was seeing the puck really well. He was all over the ice. His stick handling is the best in the NHL. I don't think there's anybody, if they had a goalie competition in, the All-Star game, he would easily win the stick handling competition between all the goaltenders in the league. I truly 100% believe that. And hopefully he can wrap it up and kind of eliminate Connor Hellebuyck the second time in about 3 months. Not saying I didn't want Team USA to win, but
yeah, but it was nice to see Benner get that win.
Oh,
it really was.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the reason why the Blues are in the situation they're in right now. For me, I thought Toropchenko played a heck of a game. I thought he had. I thought he was all over the place. He was hitting guys, kind of bouncing around all over the place. He had a goal and an assist tonight. Did he have 2 assists? Just 1 assist. Just 1 assist.
Yeah, but he was flying. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he got a little chippy there in the third period. He kind of kept us cool though. I liked that he was able to, kind of do that. I didn't realize that dude is big. He's like 6'5".
Yeah. Oh, he's
massive.
crazy tall. And then you get the little midget that,
Nathan Walker.
Like, Ryan Fox is going to be like, what happened? One guy got stuck in the dryer. The other one got stretched out to no end's terms.
Yeah, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that whole line had a really good game, though. Between
they really did.
Faska, Toropchenko, and Walker, those guys have really come on in the second half of the series.
Yeah. I give Monty a ton of credit. Right after that power play goal, thanks to Walker's penalty, he literally put them back on the ice. Go out there and get something back, and they got the goal back. A lot of kudos. Like a lot of coaches, I'm pretty sure Winnipeg's coach would have been puckering up big time and not show those guys again. Monty's like, no, I trust these guys. They do the job right, and they did. They came in for him.
Yeah. Do you speak of Winnipeg's coach? Do you really? I mean, I saw he's one of the finalists for the Jack Adams Award. If I was able to vote, I'm voting Martin St. Louis without 100% confidence. Martin St. Louis deserves the Jack Adams Award.
Yep.
If Monty isn't a part of it, he's not a finalist. I'm giving it to St. Louis. There's no doubt in my mind that he gets that. Just because, I mean, you look at a team like Winnipeg, you have a guy like Connor Hellebuyck, who's a good regular season goaltender, could easily be league MVP at the same time. Could throw his name into that. And then in Washington, I could see why his name gets thrown in there because they literally went from worst to first.
Right.
So I get that, but I don't know how – I personally don't know how Scott Arniel's name is in that category. I don't see it.
Well, it's honestly, I mean, and I'm not trying to sound.
It's a President's Trophy thing. Yeah.
If you win the President's Trophy, you're a Coach of the Year candidate, no matter what. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That. Yeah, I get that. But if you're gonna get booted in the first round, hey, I can't really say that though because Montreal did. But then again, Montreal's a whole different team. They're the youngest team in the NHL, and whatnot. So yeah, I mean. That would be my vote. Sorry to banter off in a different direction.
I'm glad you said that. I agree.
Yeah.
I think St. Louis is phenomenal coach for that team.
Yes.
And Montreal scares me. In like a couple of years, it's going to be in. Yeah. It's going to be in 5 years' time. It's going to be changing the NHL. The teams that are up top now are not going to be there, and the teams that are kind of getting in that playoff mode now. Those would be the teams you watch. The Ottawas, the Montreals, Columbus. The Blues. All those teams. They're going to be on the rise in the next few years. So
I would agree.
Everyone's better start watching out.
Yeah, I 100%. Any final thoughts on tonight's 5-2 win and being able to force a Game 7 back in Winnipeg on Sunday?
Just happy for the Blues to be able to continue their 15 consecutive game home winning streak.
4th in NHL history now.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So happy for them to be able to continue that, and let's keep it going, boys.
Yeah,
let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad tonight wasn't the last game of the season. I dropped my son off this morning to my mother-in-law. I was like, all right, Camden, we're gonna watch the final game, or not the final game. We're gonna watch the Blues game tonight, and hope to God it's not the last game of the season.
Well said. Absolutely well said.
James, how you feeling going into Game 7? This will be like a final, kind of final thought thing.
Honestly, I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. They got to Hellebuck again. He's going in, all the pressure is on Winnipeg. The Blues just have to go in and just do the forechecking, get in front of that net, and just cause hell in front of Hellebuck. So that's all they got to do, and they can win this game.
Yeah. Enough said. We're going to wrap it up here. Blues win 5-2 in St. Louis tonight to force a Game 7 on Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching on the East Coast, Aaron, 7 p.m. You don't have a late start. It's a Sunday night, 6 o'clock game Central Time for St. Louis folks. Hope to see you there, or at least tune into the game. If you're in Winnipeg for the game, freaking that's awesome. And we'll see you on the next pregame or postgame show here on STL Sports.